Every town has one. One mascot. One local tradition everyone pretends is charming instead of unsettling. Ours has a clown. Not multiple clowns. Not rotating performers. Just one. Same costume. Same painted grin. Same wheezing, air-squeezed laugh that sounds like it's being forced through damaged lungs. He does everything. Birthday parties, school fundraisers, parades, even funerals. Standing off to the side, silent, holding a balloon shaped like a white flower. I grew up terrified of him, but no one ever took that seriously. He's just the town clown, people would say. He's been here forever. They meant it fondly. They shouldn't have. As a kid, I hated how he never spoke normally. He didn't talk. He leaned in too close and whisper laughed, like the sound was private, like it was meant just for you. And his makeup, it wasn't sloppy or exaggerated. It was precise. The smile always stopped in the exact same place. The eye paint never crocked. The red nose never smudged. Even in summer heat. Even when he hugged crying children too long. I remember my 7th birthday party clearly. At least I thought I did. I remembered the cake, the cheap balloons, the sound of kids screaming when he pulled coins from behind ears. What I didn't remember was how close he stood to me. I only realized that years later. I found the photo by accident last month. My parents are downsizing, and my mom asked me to take a box of old albums home. I was flipping through them late at night, half nostalgic, half bored. Then I saw him. Same costume, same striped sleeves, same smile, standing behind me as I blew out the candles. Too close. His gloved hand hovered inches from my shoulder, not touching, waiting. I frowned, leaning closer to the photo. Was he always that close? I muttered. The feeling hit me immediately. That childhood dread, hot and crawling up my spine. The sense that if I turned around too fast, his face would be right there. I flipped through more pages. Every birthday, every parade, every community event. There he was, unchanged, always positioned near me. Closer in some photos than others. At my 10th birthday, he was kneeling. At my 12th, crouching. At my 15th, standing directly behind my chair, face tilted down toward my ear. Same smile, same eyes, never blinking. I checked the dates, 20 years apart. He didn't look older, didn't look different at all. I laughed nervously and told myself it was just a costume, just good makeup, just coincidence. Then I found my grandfather's funeral photos, black and white, and there he was, standing near the casket. Same clown, same face, same smile. In a photo dated 1968, my hands started shaking. I grabbed my phone and searched the town archive website, old newsletters, parade photos, yearbooks, page after page, decade after decade. There he was, always the same, always watching the camera, always smiling like the photo was taken for him. I zoomed in on one image from the 1950s, a children's picnic. The clown stood in the background, and just like my birthday photos, he was standing closer to one child than all the others. I checked the name listed under the photo. It was my mother. As a child, The room felt colder. I flipped back to my own birthday picture and stared at the clown's face until my eyes burned. That's when I noticed something I swear wasn't there before. His eyes weren't looking at the camera. They were looking at me. Not the child in the photo. Me, right now. And the closer I leaned toward the picture, the wider his painted smile seemed to stretch. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile. Not wide, not exaggerated, just fixed, like it had been set in place and forgotten there. I took the photo out of the album and set it on my desk, telling myself I needed to look at it again in proper light, rationally, calmly. That was a mistake. Up close, the makeup details were wrong. Not messy, not cheap. Wrong in a way that made my skin prickle. The white paint wasn't flat. It had texture, like dried skin stretched too thin. The red of the mouth wasn't smeared over lips. It ended exactly where lips should end, like something underneath didn't want the color to go any farther. And the eyes. God, the eyes. The black triangles painted around them were perfect, but inside that darkness, the whites looked yellowed, old, veined, wet. They didn't reflect the camera flash the way everyone else's eyes did. It looked like the light had been swallowed. I flipped to another photo, my 9th birthday. In that one, the clown's head was tilted slightly to the right. I grabbed the 7th birthday photo and compared them. Same tilt, same angle, same posture, like he'd learned the position once and never bothered changing it. My pulse started racing. People shift, performers adjust, even habits drift over years. But he didn't. It was like someone had paused him mid-performance decades ago, and he'd simply stayed there. The next morning, I drove downtown to the local library. If he really had been around that long, someone would have written about him. The town kept scrapbooks behind the reference desk, binders of yellowed clippings and photos labeled community events. I flipped through them until my fingers smelled like dust. There he was. Ribbon cutting, 1974, same clown. 4th of July parade, 1986, same clown. Elementary school carnival, 1999, same clown. Always the same height, same build, same proportions. Never hunched, never stiffened, and always standing just a little too close to the kids. Not touching. Never touching. Like he didn't need to. I brought the binder to the librarian. "Do you know who this is?" I asked, pointing. She smiled. "Oh, that's just our clown." "What's his name?" She blinked. "I don't think he has one." "When did he start working here?" She thought for a moment. "As long as I can remember." She laughed softly. "He was at my birthday party too." My stomach twisted. "How old are you?" I asked. She said, 62. I swallowed. "Has he ever changed costume?" I asked. She frowned. "Why would he?" I thanked her and left. As I stepped outside, I heard it. That laugh. A wet, rhythmic he-huh, like air being squeezed through something hollow. I froze. Across the street, near the fountain, stood the clown. In daylight, he was worse. The colors were too bright, the smile too steady, the eyes too alert. He wasn't performing. He was just standing there, watching people pass. When a child ran by, he leaned forward slightly, not enough to alarm anyone, just enough to show interest. The child laughed nervously and kept moving. The clown's head turned slowly, tracking. I felt my heart slam against my ribs. Then his eyes shifted, locked onto me. That laugh started again. He raised one gloved hand and waved. Not big, not playful, just a small, patient wave, like he'd been waiting for me to notice him again. I turned and walked as fast as I could without running. Behind me, I heard soft footsteps, measured, unhurried, matching my pace. When I ducked into my car and slammed the door, the footsteps stopped. I looked up. The clown stood on the sidewalk, head tilted. He lifted one finger and tapped it gently against his painted smile. Shh. I sped off, hands shaking on the wheel. That night, I dug through every photo album my parents owned. Dozens of birthdays, holidays, school events. In the earliest ones, he stood at the edge of the frame, far away. In later ones, he was closer. By my teenage years, he was always directly behind me, close enough that his shadow touched my feet. I flipped to the last photo in the stack, my graduation party. There he was, right beside me. So close, his shoulder brushed mine, and for the first time, his gloved hand was resting on my back. The smile looked deeper, more settled, like something that had waited a very long time and finally found its place. I stopped sleeping at my parents' house after that. Every room felt watched, like the walls had learned to smile without faces. I took the albums with me and locked them in the trunk of my car, because the thought of that hand on my back sitting inches from my bed made my skin crawl. I told myself I was spiraling. That fear rewrites memories, that old photos lie, that clowns are designed to be unsettling, and I was projecting. So I did the dumbest possible thing. I asked around. At work, at the diner, at the bar where locals still tell the same stories every Friday night. Did the clown ever freak you out as a kid? I asked casually. Every single person laughed first, then hesitated, then said something like, "Yeah, but in a fun way. Kids are supposed to be scared of clowns. He always liked to stand real close. He remembered me though, that was kind of cool." That last one made my stomach drop. "What do you mean remembered you?" I asked. A guy at the bar shrugged. "I don't know. I saw him at my kid's birthday a few years back, and he did the same bit he did when I was a kid. Same tricks, same laugh, same pause before the balloon pops." Pause. That word stuck. "How long was the pause?" I asked. He frowned. "Long enough to make you think he wasn't going to do it." That night, I dreamed of that pause, standing in front of a mirror, smiling, waiting. I finally worked up the nerve to go to town hall. If the clown was officially hired, there had to be paperwork, contracts, pay records, something with a name. The clerk dug through files while I waited, palms sweating. She came back with a thin folder. "This is all we have," she said. Inside were exactly 3 documents: a single-page agreement titled Performer, a handwritten schedule of events going back decades, a blank W-9 form. No name, no signature, no tax ID. Just a stamp at the bottom of the contract. Approved. "Who signs this?" I asked. She looked genuinely confused. "It's always been approved," she said. "We just add dates." I flipped the schedule to the most recent entry. Next Saturday, Children's Parade, Main Street. Under the performer column was a single word, clown. And beneath it, in smaller handwriting, something new, something I hadn't seen in any older entries. A note, closer this year. My hands went cold. That wasn't there before, I said. The clerk frowned. Sure it was. No, I said. I've been looking at this thing all week. She stared at the page, then slowly smiled. Guess I just never noticed. I went home and locked every door. That's when I heard it. The laugh. Not outside. Inside the house. Soft, measured, patient. Hee-ha, hee-ha. It drifted from the hallway like breath through a straw. I grabbed my phone and opened the camera. The screen showed the dark hallway, empty. Then the camera shook, not from my hands, from something tapping the lens. I watched frozen as a white shape slid into view, not fast, not sudden. A painted cheek, a red mouth, a smile entering frame piece by piece. The clown leaned down until his face filled the screen. The phone didn't glitch, didn't distort. It showed him clearly. Too clearly. His eyes weren't yellow anymore. They were mine. Same color, same flecks, same slight asymmetry I'd always hated. The phone slipped from my hand. When I looked up, the hallway was empty again. But something felt different, heavier, like the space behind me wasn't empty anymore. I walked to the bathroom mirror, stared. My face looked normal, too normal, until I smiled. I hadn't meant to. The smile came on its own, slow, exact, stopping in the same place as the clown's. I tried to relax my face. It didn't move. And behind my eyes, somewhere deep and quiet, I felt it. That pause. The same pause before the balloon pops, before the laugh comes out, before something finishes learning how to stand closer. I didn't go to the parade. That decision felt instinctual, like pulling your hand away from heat before pain registers. I locked myself inside, blinds drawn, phone off, every mirror in the house covered with towels and sheets. I sat on the floor of my bedroom and waited. For what, I didn't know. For him, for myself, for the pause to end. At exactly noon, the laugh drifted through the walls. Not loud, not muffled, present. Hee-ha, hee-ha. I pressed my hands over my ears. The sound didn't stop. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from memory. From every birthday, every photo, every time I felt him just a little too close and told myself it was fine. My phone vibrated on the floor. One notification. Unknown sender. You always stood still when I practiced. That's why it worked. My heart slammed. No, I whispered. You're not real. The reply came instantly. Then why do your smiles match mine now? I squeezed my eyes shut. Behind my eyelids, I saw photos flipping by too fast to stop. Decades of them, the clowns standing beside different children, different families, different generations. Always closer to one person. Always the same progression. Edge of the frame, background, nearby, touching. replacing. I understood then. The clown didn't age because he didn't live. He waited. And when someone looked at him long enough, when someone learned the pause, when someone learned how to smile without meaning it, he stepped back and let them step forward. The laugh grew louder, right behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I didn't agree to this, I said, my voice shaking. You did, he replied, not aloud, but inside my jaw, my teeth, my throat. Every time you smiled for the photo, my face started to hurt. Not ache, set, like muscles locking into place. I felt paint that wasn't there, a nose that wasn't mine, gloves sliding over hands that no longer felt human. I staggered to the covered mirror and ripped the towel away. The reflection stared back. Same hair, same eyes, but the smile, too neat, too patient, too practiced. And behind it, behind my face, something else was smiling wider, waiting for me to stop resisting. My phone buzzed again. One last message. The parade needs a clown. It always does. I felt the pause settle in fully. That moment between breath and sound, between intention and action. I understood now why he never touched, why he didn't need to. Fear keeps you looking. Looking teaches you the shape. And once you learn the shape, you become it. Somewhere downtown, children laughed. Music played. Cameras flashed. And for the first time in decades, the clown was going to look different. I don't know how long I'll still be able to write like this. Some days I catch myself standing too close to people. Some days I forget to blink. Some days my smile comes on before I decide to make it. But if you ever see a clown in a small town parade, same costume, same laugh, and you feel that instinct to step back, do it. Because if he's close enough to scare you, he's already looking for who stands still the longest. And next time, he won't need the makeup.